to 7.5. So you're saying bet the ranch, bet the house?
Whatever you got.
Yep.
Candles, trash bag, whatever you got of value.
Bet it all.
Bet it all. I bet it all.
If I didn't believe so much in Tom Brady, I would take that bet right now. But I do not want to have to sit tomorrow night and root against Tom Brady to win a bet with you. I cannot tell you how much I hope you are right about this. I also cannot stress to you enough how much stress I'm feeling about this game. I got a queasy feeling. And let's start with this. Let's go away from the X's and O's. What is the Cinderella story of the year in the National Football League? It's these guys. It's Alex Smith having survived 17 surgeries on a leg he almost lost and miraculously bouncing back and finding his way back into a game because Dwayne Haskins was failing the football team, right?
Yeah.
And is he not like the landslide runaway comeback player of the year?
He was moving forward. They might even name the award after him.
They just might. And he has a coach named Ron Rivera, who has been going through chemo during this football season.
8 weeks of it.
8 weeks of chemo while trying to coach the football team.
And reported that he gets an IV at halftime, so he's able to learn about Skip, and especially early in the game. If you're favored, the quicker you can dispense them and put doubt in their mind, the better off you'll be.
Good point.
Teams like Washington say, guys, Ron Rivera is probably telling his team, let's get it to the fourth quarter, let's see what happens. And that's what happened with us, Skip. We got out to 12-0. We went for a 2-point conversion.
What do you say you were favored that day? What would you guess?
At least double digits.
Okay.
I would think.
All right.
Because they were just an expansion team just a year earlier. So here they are in the second year of existence.
Which year was this?
96.
96.
We're 13-3.
Okay.
We're up 12-0. I dropped the 2-point conversion, which would have made it 14-0. And I don't even really know what happened, Skip. They started running it. Natron Means, we couldn't tackle him. And then we stacked the box, and then he play action hit Jimmy Smith, Keenan McCardle. And the next thing you know, we look up at the fourth quarter, and we're down. Like, oh, my, how did we get here? We had the best record. We had the best record in football. We had TD, had, like John, myself, Ed Rock. And they got it to the fourth quarter, and it was too little too late.
Okay.
And that's what Washington is hoping to be able to do.
You just gave me the blueprint, right?
Yes,
That's the recipe. And that game was in your house.
In our house, yes.
This game is in their house.
Right.
And I cap off the feel-good meant-to-be story of the year. They did just recently change their name finally from that name that was despised to the football team, right? So it feels like it's right on time for this to relaunch.
Yeah.
Okay, now let's go back on the field. What have you preached to me for years? The way to beat Tom Brady is to get consistent pressure and sack him, knock him around, rough him up with a four-man rush. No blitzing because you don't want to break down on the back end.
Right.
You just need to get after him with four.
Yes.
First Eli Super Bowl, the Giants featuring Michael Strahan got after him with four, and they got after him. They beat him up pretty good in that game. And it stayed low score, low score. Okay, and Brady went ahead with 2 minutes left, 14-10. They lost 17-14. Right. Okay. Here we look at this year, just this year alone. Well, and remember, Brady, how about, I don't want to pass over this one. How did Von Miller and company beat him?
It was four.
It was four people got all,
Von D. Ware, Wolf, and
the AFC Championship game at Denver. And then this year we saw the Saints twice got after him with four, and we saw the Bears on Thursday night definitely got way after him with four in ways they haven't all year to anybody else, but they got after him.
The Rams.
And the Rams at Tampa. Those 4 games, you say, whew, there it is. And here it is again. Is this rush as good as New Orleans or Bears or Rams? It has potential to be. It doesn't always play up to its draft position.
The only thing is, as good as Chase Young is, I'm not going to say he's as dominant a pass rusher as Aaron Donald. I'm not going to say he's Khalil Mack. And Skip, I know Hendrickson is not a household name.
No, but every time you look up, he's popping off your TV screen.
And I was talking to a buddy of mine, and I was like, man, you know who Hendrickson reminds me of? And before I could say it, he said Jared Allen.
Really?
You remember the pass rusher from Minnesota and Kansas City?
Yeah.
That a non-stop motor. He's special. Now, the question is, can the front four of Washington get relentless pressure? Bring Kerrigan in because, hey, They're going to try to run the football.
So they have a 5-man rotation featuring 5 first-round picks.
Yes.
That's unheard of. I don't know if there's, in the history of this league, any team's ever had that.
Yeah,
right?
not the start line. I mean,
no.
That means, it shows you how they built their team. They built their team front to back. The offensive line, you look at Sheriff, I think it's pronounced Sheriff, how they built their offensive line, how they built the defensive line front to back.
Yep.
First rounders going backwards. We need protection. We need to get after your protection.
Yep. Okay. Let's flip it around. Alex Smith, do I have high regard? I do not. I got you. Might they have to resort to Taylor Heineke in the second half? I don't know if they would alternate them, but
I believe you'll see Heineke sooner than later.
Okay, you could be right. But there are weapons at their disposal because I fear Terry McLaurin because he can just flat out fly.
Yes.
And Logan Thomas has turned himself from quarterback into feared tight end. He can catch because what is he, 6'5", 6'6"?
Yeah. He's a big kid.
Big kid.
Yeah.
Antonio Gibson can run it. It's hard to run against this team because they run blitz you is what they do. It's just hard to get yards running, but most people said, we don't need to run.
Right.
We can throw it. They were 21st in passing yards allowed. That's horrible for a team that is 8th in points allowed. But the way to get them is to get them that way.
Right.
And for the evidence, I give you the New Orleans game, the one at Tampa on that Sunday night. They had 420 total yards offense. Drew Brees just went up and down the field throwing the football. The Rams with Jared Goff. Jared Goff threw for 376 at Tampa, and they had 413 yards. Obviously, Kansas City is high-powered, firepower, but they had 543 yards offense at Tampa and threw for 456, but 229 in the first quarter he threw for. And then Atlanta. That game at Atlanta was 3 games back. That was in the first half, 235 yards passing, 235 in the first half, and you're down, as you know, 17-0, 24-7. Okay, so they are torchable on the back end. I trust the coordinator a lot more than I trust his defense. I believe in Todd Bowles. I always have.
Yes.
Okay.
But Skip, I think the thing is, a lot of times, it's normally really hard to run against a 34 defense. And that's what Todd Bowles based out of a 34. Now, the question is, can you lock it up? Can you protect? Can you protect against Shaq Barrett? To get Shaq Barrett back, remember, he's been in COVID protocol.
Right, but I also remind you, there's no Devin White, who is their best blitzer by far, ×5.
Yes.
I think he's the best blitzing linebacker in the league.
He does a very good job of being sneaky, and Todd Bowles does a very good job is like breaking down your protection. So a big, you notice, Skip, he's running over backs. So what he does is they do a good job of compromising your offensive line, says, okay, we're going to get big on big, and then you're asking a 200-pound, 205-pound, 210-pound back to try to stop a 250-pound linebacker
with closing speed.
With a head of steam.
Ooh.
So he just normally runs him over and closes on your quarterback.
He does, okay? He's COVID.
Yes.
He's out.
Right.
If they were playing Sunday, he would probably be allowed to play, but not on Saturday night. So that's a break, a big break for the home team.
Correct.
And then I don't know if Mike Evans is going to be able to go. Obviously, Tom Brady has a lot of weapons. But in the end, I see low scoring, and I'm going to hang on for dear life. I hope you're right. I got it 20-17 Brady, and I will tell you that I fear this game even more than I would fear Brady at Aaron Rodgers, which would then come the next week. This one scares me the most. And of all the underdogs this week, the 6 underdogs, I give Washington easily the best shot of pulling off the upset.
No. That's not even close. Because I just don't see how they generate enough points. Skip, where they gonna get 17 points from? Christmas gone.
Weapons.
And no, Santa Claus ain't coming back. Santa Claus don't come once a year. He ain't coming back.
Well, you always tell me Tom Brady against any sort of decent defense, he can spit it up.
He can, but here's the thing. The question is about Brady, and I think he'll do a good job of getting the ball out of his hands early to fatigue that defense, and then he'll start taking his shots down the field. Because that's what you want to do. Okay, let me see how my offensive line, the mistake that they made, Skip, you got to run the ball. Because if a team says, oh, y'all not going to even try to run?
Yeah, you got to try.
Because you remember, that's what got him in trouble with Denver. They just tried to throw the ball. James White had like almost 20 targets. There was no attempt to run. Well, Vaughn said, well, I ain't got to play a run.
Yep.
So you're going to have to, Ronald Jones and Leonard Fournette, you got to at least make Washington think you want to run the football.
Okay. And on the other side, do you remember what Antonio Gibson did to my team a couple of times?
Skip, everybody did that to your team. Skip, everybody. Let me ask you a question. What running back didn't do that to your team?
Let me think hard about that.
Exactly.
San Francisco had a harder time than I thought they
Yeah.
would. That was decent.
But
right?
you look at it.
I know. The Steelers.
Oh, yeah, but the Steelers can't run the ball anyway.
There we go.
But y'all think y'all might have been last in the league in rush defense, Skip.
Yeah, by far.
Well, we actually have to talk about Skip's Spurs next because you know what? They
You
got
tried to
it
get me. You tried to
done
get me.
last night after sweeping the Spurs in 2 games just last week on the road. The